In my team at the moment in Supercoach, I've kind of stacked the forward line. So I'm looking for value in different positions on field, namely the defense and the midfield, to actually kind of fill out the positions. One of the main things is because our players are so damn expensive this year that you've really got to kind of bank on the guys who are, I guess, between 200 and 300k. Those ones either coming back from injury or looking to do some breakouts. The preseason games are perfect for looking at these players, and I'm going to be giving you the reasons why I'm looking at the ones I am. First up on the list, I've got Jack Bowes coming in at 277, 500k. So he made the move across from Gold Coast to Geelong, and there was some talk at the moment of him actually playing some midfield time. That was kind of the reasons why Geelong kind of coasted him along, maybe convinced him to say, hey, you can come to these other clubs where you won't be best 22, but here you will be. Fans looking at the decision, other teams looking at the decision as well, were kind of like, how are you going to fit him into this Geelong team? The guy's a gun. Well, he has had some decent Supercoach scores at least, but that Geelong team is bloody stacked. And the kind of preseason information we've got at the moment references that a little bit. Earlier in the year, there was some talk about, hey, he's actually been training with the mids and stuff. But over the past few weeks, we really haven't heard a lot. Usually when a player's name doesn't get mentioned, they're not doing really well or they're not in the best 22 plans. So I'm actually just looking at their Geelong's preseason games over the next couple of weeks, coming into their intra-clubs, but also their preseason matches to kind of help to make this a decision for me. He's priced at 50, so there's a lot of leeway there. In 2019, he scored a 75. In 2020, he scored an 84. And in 2021, he had an average of 83. To make that 150k, you basically have to score 30 points over your average. So if he's priced at a 50, we're looking for an 80 score. It's not fantastic. He has scored similar like that in the past. But if the opportunity is there, it could definitely happen. And an 80 is doable by a lot of players. It's only like 2 kicks, a mark, and a handball every quarter. So it's really not that much. In the preseason, I'll be looking for his time on ground. I'll be looking for what position he's going to be playing. And obviously, if he's in the number ones. If he's named in what you'd consider to be the VFL team, I won't be picking him this year. We'll be moving on to other players. Next up on the list, we have my boy, Toby McLean. And you say, Big J, Toby McLean, isn't he a lock? He's so cheap. What's going on? So Toby McLean's coming in at 178, 900k. So kind of that more expensive first-year rookie price, or a guy that's played a couple of games last year. For someone who's won a premiership, has been in the system since like 2014, 2015. It's bloody fantastic. And I totally agree with you. The only issue is he is priced at 32, which is fine. But coming off injuries, coming off an injury kind of last 3 or 4 years that have really hampered him, he was almost on the premium level with Jack McRae back in 2018. And you can definitely see the difference between the two players now. In 2018, he scored a 94. In 2019, he scored a 70. In 2020, he scored a 68. And in 2021, he was averaging a 65. So a 65, let's say, for example, isn't that great. But similar to Jack Bowes, he's only got to make 30 points over his average to be able to do that. So 32 plus 30 is a 62. So even if he has his worst score in the last 3 or 4 years, he's still going to make us that 150k that we're looking for. My concerns with Toby McLean at the moment is he did have a bit of a hand injury at the start of preseason, which is fine. You know, players get over these things. But during the intra-club matches, he has been playing in what you'd consider to be the B team. These are the guys who will be playing VFL. And that's obviously not what we want from our inflated rookie-priced players. During the preseason, I'm going to be looking to see his time on ground. I'm going to be looking to see where he plays on the field and also where he's named. So similar to a Bowes. These are things that are really going to confirm to me, hey, this is a pick for me. I want him in. The DPP is fantastic. He could be a real steal and someone you could carry, maybe not until the buys, but not as a first upgrade target in your team. The next one's a bit crazy. I'm talking Tom Mitchell. So he made the move over from Hawthorn to Collingwood this year. Well, in the trade period at least. He comes into Supercoach priced at 528, 600k with an average of 96. So Tom Mitchell, you'd think 96 is bloody fantastic. He's super undervalued, and I'd agree with you there. But I have some real concerns with the pick. In 2018, he scored a 129 average. 2020, obviously, I think he came off his broken leg or something like that. 2020, 113. 2021, 117. And 2022, he averaged a 96. So regressed a little bit there, but Hawthorn had its injury, had its worries as well. So they moved him around quite a lot. They were playing guys like Jai Newcombe in the position more so than Tom Mitchell, which is fine. Sam Mitchell's clearing out house a little bit from the Clarkson era, and he's making the team what he wants. There's a couple of concerns I do have with Tom Mitchell. Craig McRae, fantastic coach, got Collingwood to fourth on the ladder, which is bloody fantastic. No player under his team last year has averaged over 100. It's a really bad problem for Tom Mitchell because of the style of ball play they get. Yes, he'll be getting tap outs, which is fantastic. Yes, he'll be handballing the ball off, but their game style is so fast. It's not the accumulation style like we've seen on a lot of clubs. Even players that naturally have done that in the team before, like a Jack Crisp, dropped something like 10 disposals off their number last year, kind of leading to him having a real regression in scoring. We don't want that to happen from Tom Mitchell. He could conceivably be priced at 528 with a 96 average and only ever make 100 average. For a player that we want to be able to go up in scoring, go up in price, even if he's not a keeper, kind of end up at that 600k mark that you can sideways to somebody, that's our ultimate goal for him. I just want to see some confirmation in the preseason games, what his role is, how his scoring's going, and how overall the team's meshing with him. They brought him in to be that distributor from a tap out. That's something they've really missed. Their contested possession numbers have dropped off. So we're kind of looking for that for him. If that happens, he's going to lock himself into my team. But at the moment, he's not in there. Next up on the list is Sam Flanders. You'd be thinking, Big J, Sam Flanders? Who is this guy? Where does he play for? Well, as you saw from the picture, he comes in from Gold Coast. Now, Gold Coast is an interesting team. They've got a lot of space for development and a lot of space for players to break out. When you kind of look at their midfield mix, you think, what? Tuke Miller, obviously, Matt Rowell, and Noah Anderson. They're the main three. But your midfield generally has 4 or 5 guys in there. Maybe even some teams have 6 to 7 guys who rotate regularly through the position, who are looking to make their position their own, who have a high scoring level. And with him coming in at 256, 300k, there's a lot of potential there for him to actually score quite a lot of points and jump up in value and jump up in average as well. So he's priced at a 47. He hasn't had a lot of AFL experience, but last year in the VFL, he did bloody fantastic. He had some really high disposal games and was dominating for Gold Coast, which is something you don't normally see. He was averaging 31 disposals a game, and you think, Big J, that doesn't transition across to AFL. Yeah, I totally agree with you. The teams are different. The positions are different. He may be the number 1 player in the VFL midfield. He won't be that player at AFL level. But if he shows us signs that he could be that player, going up to a 77 average, closer to an 80 average, isn't unattainable for this guy. We're just looking for that 150k, get him to 400k to offload him with a rookie to get a good premium across the position. I'm going to be looking for his positioning on field this year during the preseason games to kind of see where he's playing. There's been some talk he's going to play midfield, but also half forward. So kind of getting that mix. Will he be someone who's playing on ball, or they expect him to run through the middle and kick goals? We'll just wait and see. He could be 4, 5, or 6 in line, like I've said at the start. And that's kind of, I'll take the gamble on that type of player. Maybe not in the forward line, but as a midfield rookie, if I don't have enough cash, that kind of thing, he could be in there. Or maybe as an F6. We'll just wait and see. Next up on the list, we've got Nick Coffield. Bloody hell. Big J, you're going to be saying to yourself, why Nick Coffield? What's going on? So Nick Coffield comes in at 208, 800k. So he's fairly cheap in the back line. I think a lot of people this year are going to be spending up in the other 2 positions, and as well as the ruck, obviously. And they're going to be using the back line to make a lot of their money with guys who are going to have pretty decent scoring. So this year he comes into the system with an average of 38. So only needs a 68 to really make us that money to accelerate up the field. So better than your basic rookie. And for the price, that's kind of what you're expecting. In 2020, he scored a 79. In 2021, he scored a 68. And then last year, he had an ACL problem. So injured his ACL, had the year off. And now in the preseason, it sounds like he's kind of coming in fit and firing, which is what we want to see for a guy that's so cheap and why he's actually not lost price, but why he's at a devalued price, which is fantastic for Supercoach owners. From what the team's been saying, he's reported to be playing a bit of a half-back role with guys like Brad Hill moving into the wing. Under the new coach, they're going to be wanting to move the ball really fast, and having a young player who can run like he can, obviously with the new ACL, it's something that they're going to be wanting to do. So I'm looking for his confirmation in the best 22 this year, confirmation of role, and some real signs in scoring-wise, disposal numbers, and the team's use of him on field, that this is a guy that I want to bring in. There's real potential for Coffield to be a good player, and at that price, he's competing with guys like Goda or Jimby, who are really first-year players, and he's not. So there's a lot of things to be said about mature body, been in the system for a while, that are building that endurance base, that kind of thing. That's why I'm looking at him. Last on our list, we've got Liam Jones. And you think to myself, Big J, Liam Jones, what are you doing? You've given me all these dud players. I want guys that are going to score well. But hey, vaccine's finished. There's no more mandate. Liam Jones got picked up by the Bulldogs. I believe he kind of played with him during his VFL career as well. Went to Carlton, obviously got dropped because of COVID, came back as a delisted free agent. That's why he's in the team. They brought him in for a reason. Clubs do not bring in 31-year-old key defenders or defenders in general if they're not expecting to play them a little bit. He's priced at $228,100, which is very, very cheap, available in the defense position, and he's only got an average of 41. So there's a lot of wiggle room there for him to score quite well. In 2019, when he played at Carlton, he scored a 66. 2020, he scored a 72. And then in 2021, he scored a 68. So he's around that mark for us. Depending on what his role is at the Dogs, he could be a real steal. He's not in a lot of teams at the moment, and he could really force people to bring him in. I know there's a lot of teams who are spending bargain basement money on players this year in the back line, myself included. We're talking 3 to 4 players under the 300k mark, and Liam Jones really fits in with that. At the start of the preseason, there was talks that, hey, he's going to slot straight into the team. He's going to be a mainstay in that defense. They're looking for another tall defender, and he really fits the bill. Now, that caught my eye, and I've been looking for some more confirmation of that. Since that news has come out, there's been talk that Josh Bruce is going to be playing an intercept role. Maybe Alex Keith is coming back. We'll wait and see. But it's just not that confirmation that I'm looking for at the moment. So during the preseason games, I'm going to be looking for his best 22 status. I'm going to be looking for his role, his scoring, if he's going to be a bit more mobile, and if he's going to be fit as well. He did go off and play the Coffield, which is kind of the level underneath the VFL. He's a real option. As I said with Bowes, as I said with Coffield, people are playing cheap in the position, and that's why I'm going to look for him as well. Hey guys, well, that's my 6 players that I'm going to be looking at this preseason. There's obviously other players who I'll be looking at as well, but they're the ones who I've got some real concerns within my team that could be coming in and out of my side. I'll have my team reveal coming up shortly that you guys can stay tuned for as well. Remember, we've got our Supercoach group where you guys can win some amazing prizes. We've got a jersey, we've got a couple of tickets to a game during the year, and then an AFL voucher as well. I'll put the information for that in the description below. Remember, guys, we do the hard work so you don't have to. Bye for now.